All
All
right.
you.
All right. Well, anyway, it's always me, and that's Andreas, the pop culture guy. Anyway, hey guys, how you guys doing? Today, tonight, we're doing a spectacular. Well, I mean, spectacular. I say, Serenity now. Serenity now. Of course, Dark Knight Rises, the 2012 film directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Christian Bale, Tom Harley, Anne Hathaway, Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman, did I say Michael Caine? Yeah, Michael Caine, and Joshua Gordon-Levitt. So,
Who's Tom Harley?
Tom Harley, yeah, Tom Hardy, right? Oh no, I'm not gonna start this. No. You guys do what I'm talking about. Bane himself, the macho guy with the silly voice and the mask. Ah, the fire rises. You know, that guy.
You mean
Anyway,
Hardy? You mean Tom Hardy? Oh, okay.
yeah, that's what I say. Anyway,
Okay.
Serenity now. Anyway, um, Jeff, how you doing, brother? How's your day going?
I'm hanging in there, sir. Hanging in there.
Okay, good, good. Saber, how you doing?
I'm just hunky dory.
Awesome. Well. Anyway, if anyone has seen Dark Knight Rises, please pause this, live stream, go back, watch the film, and then come and see this live stream review. We're gonna spoil a hell of a lot of the film here, so let's get into it. So, I'll say a general question. I'll start with you, Cyber. After the Dark Knight, were you excited for the next chapter if Nolan came back? And getting into all the information, the casting of this movie, did it lift your expectation of wrapping up this trilogy? Go ahead.
Well, I was very excited after the Dark Knight came out, especially with the performance by Heath Ledger, and just the whole storyline was fantastic and amazing. And I was definitely looking forward to another film because that one did a really great job of giving us some great more story with Christian Bale's version of Batman, and kind of moving us along, with the Gary Oldman, Commissioner Gordon and so forth and stuff like that. So, when the first trailer came out for this, I was like super excited for it. And when they said that they were bringing in Tom Hardy to play Bane, I was very excited about that too because I really enjoyed seeing Tom Hardy in Inception a couple years prior to this, and I had seen him in a few other things and thought he was pretty decent. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting idea. But at the same time, I was like, let's hope. I'm hoping that they make him like his comic book characterization, and of course, because they were trying to keep it in more realistic base things, they went another direction. So basically the movie itself, like, it did it keep my expectations? No. So the fact that I thought that Bane and Catwoman both were horrible in this film, uh it did not do it justice. And so I feel like story wise it did justice in kind of concluding Christian Bale's Batman's kind of story arc. uh but overall, I think as a movie by itself, I don't think it got the point across as good as it could have. Uh, and so overall, I would have to say it did not meet expectations. And I think that overall, it's an okay film. It's probably my least favorite of the three films, and I definitely think that there could have been some changes that would have made it even better to make it as good as The Dark Knight was.
No, I agree. We'll get into it. I have major problems with the story. With the villains, yeah. I mean, they're probably the weakest we have so far with the trilogy. Jeff, uh, just uh, uh, just overall opinion of the film. Did it exceed your expectations? What's your feeling about this film?
Uh, I didn't really have massive expectations for the movie. Um, I saw it quite a bit when it came out on cable, uh, and I watched it extensively. And it's coming off of the second film. It was a bit of a disappointment, I guess. I mean, it has issues. The movie does. It's definitely not perfect. and it has its ups and downs, which we'll talk about here briefly in just a minute. And I didn't really have, like I said, I didn't really have expectations because you know, you never know what you're going to get from the third movie of a trilogy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so sorry if I'm a little bit robotic, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, 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 no. It's okay. Uh, I mean, look. Just my overall thoughts. I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan. I mean, I grew up with the trilogy here. This is my big exposure of this character, and obviously with the Dark Knight, I mean, high bar for Christopher Nolan and his team to like achieve the next level. To even top the Dark Knight was tough for them, especially the passing of Heath Ledger. And I thought initially, like maybe Nolan was never going to come back, and we're going to have the situation like in the '90s Batman films, right? That just like Tim Burton, well, not like Tim Burton, like Tim Burton was fired by Warner Bros. I could see a alternate like Elseworld slash What If that Nolan didn't return, and we couldn't got a new Batman team, and that the Dark Knight trilogy could have been not wrap up. It could have been just like the original Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher films. But I was very happy to hear after during the development of Inception that Nolan had an idea to do the third film, and I was was happy he completed the trilogy, which is great. But yeah, this is the weakest of the bunch, and we'll totally discuss that through this section here. So let's get into the opening here. So we get the classic, Warner Brothers logos and DC, and then we get this, obviously the famous bat symbol being formed into symbolizing what villain we had here. Begins. It was like bats, because we were telling Batman Begins, then the Dark Knight, the purple, explosion was symbolizing the chaos that the Joker was doing. Right here, we got I guess ice breaking, obviously kind of forming Bane breaking Batman like physically and psychologically. You can say maybe. Um, and then we get this flashback of the from the last movie of Commissioner Gordon making a speech about the death of Harvey Dent, and that he was the hero that Gotham needed. And then we cut back to well, not cut back, but like then we get into this new scene of these random people. We see a car pulling up, and apparently they're CIA, and then this guy is a scientist, and they say these three men are here, and that they are employed by the Max Man, aka Bane. So we're setting up Bane as this very, high regard person, like well known criminal, and of course, the CIA, played by this actor from Game of Thrones. I forgot his name here, but yeah, his performance here is so laughable as the CIA here. It's like one of you need to, talk, and like he's like, who is Bane? And bam, he's like shooting at them, and it's just the sound effects, the EADR sound effect here is like very kind of mixed. It's not well done as compared to films that we watch, because Christopher Nolan has a big problem with sound editing for some reason. I mean, I don't know, he has like a hearing problem or something like that. I don't know, but and then randomly this weird guy in this like very like girly voice, and he's like, shoot the man, or very British, or like Peter Sellers voice or something like that. He says hello, and then the CI guy takes off his mask, and we get the big reveal of Bane. Um, here, and like he's talking to him while simultaneously we get another big plane coming over, but the CI plane over there, and then we get this like huge like surprise, like very James Bond like. This is like a cold opening here where Bane is taking over the plane. So his man takes over it, shoots a bunch of the CI man, and then of course taking Dr. Pavel, the Russian scientist, and they do they switch. They bring this dead body here. They kind of transfer blood to like I guess like kind of trick the feds or whatever. That this is Dr. Bravo because he's gonna die. By this fake person, and plus we get the music by Hans Zimmer, doing the famous chant for Bane, the Bija Bijim Basha Basha thing that we like has become famously for this film. And that's it. Bane crashes the plane and he gets the scientist, and then we cut back to Gotham City. It's been 8 years. The death of Gotham City District Attorney Harvey Dent, and with his death, they have the government of Gotham and the mayor and James Gordon created the Dent Act that helped rid of organized crime. So we got this foundation honoring the death of Harvey Dent. And of course, we get reintroduced to the mayor from last film. We get uh, Commissioner Gordon again here, as played by again Gary Oldman. He has this notes here. It every as you see him, he has probably this notes here that's probably going to tell about Dan's killing spree and the secret that he has to hide, and that the blame for the crimes of the full on Batman was like fake. And then same time we see Bruce Wayne in the shadows, like looking over on the event. Oh, plus we got a really like a very sexy woman. Of course, Anne Hathaway here. We don't know who she is. All right. I mean, we know she's got one, but I'm saying we don't know at this point who she is. She's here playing the hostess, right? And obviously, the workers are like expectantly, how's Bruce Wayne here? Like, is he like a fake? Like, is he a monster? He has nails, all that. And then cutting back here, we also get introduced to Mariah Taint, played by Marion Cotillard, who played Ma in Exception, the wife of Leo DiCaprio. Of course, we see Ben Mendelsohn here as John Daggett. I When I rewatched this movie, I was like, "Oh my God, Ben Mendelsohn, Talos from MCU's here." I totally forgot that. That is really cool. He's a great actor. So we got Renee Tate here. Of course, she's going to be a major character here. So Anne Hathaway comes up to the stairs. She sees the pictures of the Wayne family, and then Bruce Wayne does. He enters in. He shot like an arrow at her, and then we see he's talking to her, and slowly we get this reveal that his mom's pearls that she wore it was in this lock that was supposed to be secure, but then it's unlocked, and that Anne Hathaway here, aka Celine Kyle, is wearing it. And then after that, she kind of like says, "Oops!" She changed her mannerisms and all that, and then she steals the pearls, and then she goes down and she goes the right to the senator that was hitting on her, and that's it. That's the scene here. So let me stop there. Let me start with you, Jeff. What you thought about the opening here, up to Catwoman stealing Bruce Wayne's mom's pearls?
Yeah, I mean, it's just another, it's the introduction of the movie is not anything spectacular. It just kind of happens. It doesn't really pick up really, I'd say really well from the second film. And yeah, the introduction to Bane is okay. I had forgotten about it when I rewatched it today. And but I mean, it's just okay. Like it's not anything spectacular. And yeah, it's a nice ensemble cast. I like Anne Hathaway in her role, and I like the Collard woman in her role and everything. They fit well into the film, and yeah, a nice introduction to Bruce Wayne, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't really have much else to say.
Okay, Saber. Give me your thoughts on the opening up to Catwoman stealing Bruce Wayne's mom's pearls.
So just like Mr. Jeff said, the beginning of this film is pretty basic Batman film beginning. You get kind of an introduction to several characters that we've already seen, newer characters that we haven't seen yet, and we kind of get brought into the foil of kind of where kind of Gotham is at that point. and kind of where Batman is after the whole situation with what happened with the Joker in the previous film. And so we get once again you're introduced to these characters. Gary Oldman, of course, as Commissioner Gordon is fantastic. I think he was a fantastic Commissioner Gordon. I really enjoyed him. I thought he did a great job in this series, and he was one of the more shining lights for me in this film besides Christian Bale as Batman. And you know basically kind of the beginning, like I said, is that introduction to those new characters, really, kind of bringing in Bane for the first time, bringing in Catwoman for the first time, which, like I mentioned before, they're the two worst parts of this fucking film. And I absolutely can't stand the voice they had Tom Hardy do for this goddamn character. It just sounded like the most stupidest thing ever. It was like, were they like just hanging out one day and we're like, so Tom, we want you to voice the character like this. Try to be like Darth Vader, but not Darth Vader. It just was the stupidest thing ever. And the fact that he does not look like the comic book at all was also very disappointing. And, it was kind of like, where are you trying to go with this? Like, are you trying to make him seem like he's superhuman without being superhuman? Like, I just don't get what you're trying to do, because Bane was, if you read the comics, he was freaking a skinny ass dude that would get the formula and turn into the big massive dude. So it kind of took away from the character of Bane, giving him a proper, you know, love, or really showing that, they tried to do something to implement kind of that process. And so just making him this dude that is like super strong somehow, and not giving him really any support into how he becomes that way, it fell short. So this beginning of the film kind of gives you an idea of how, you know, those two characters are kind of introduced to the characters we're already aware of. And, leading up to, Catwoman about to steal, the pearls, you kind of get a sense of like, Selena Kyle is a very crafty kind of burglar type of person, trying to make her way into into Bruce Wayne's, house and stuff like that, and trying to, steal something basically. And so, this introduction to her, like, once again, I just thought she was so not well casted. I think you go from Michelle Pfeiffer to this Catwoman, you're just kind of like, nowhere the same, I feel. Because at least Michelle Pfeiffer, even though her character was kind of very comic, like relief type of, even in Tim Burton's version of Catwoman, it's still, you took it very seriously. Whereas this whole time I'm watching her in this film, I could not take her seriously. And also at the same time, she didn't fit to me as Selena Kyle. She just didn't portray the character like Selena Kyle, I felt. And so it was kind of like just watching Anne Hathaway act like Anne Hathaway for me this whole freaking film. I don't think she's that great of an actress to begin with. I think she's okay. Like, I've enjoyed her in some things, but you know, other than her naked body, basically in any movie she's done, that's pretty much all she's worth. In acting wise. So, unfortunately, I couldn't get behind that. It's kind of like putting Zoe Kravitz in the Batman. I was like, what? Like, there are so many other better actresses out there you could have picked for this fucking role. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I could have seen Emma Stone play the character. I think she would have done a more phenomenal job. I think ScarJo would have done a better job. I think Evangelina Lilly, or people that these actresses that actually can act really good in any type of role would have been a better choice. So it's just too bad that they took something that was so good, like with Dark Knight, and then take it into this and give us this beginning portion of this film that just totally felt like it wasn't anything great. And that's too bad, because I was really excited to see this film when it came out. And it just, like, that beginning portion just like was like, ah, this is nowhere as good as Dark Knight. And it's like, and that's too bad, because Christopher Nolan returned, he directed it, And it's like, what happened? What happened, Christopher? Like, you had such a great movie last time. What happened here? So I think the beginning portion of the film is nothing to rap about. We get introduced to two stupid characters that were just horribly played, and you know, just overall, it just was a very lackluster beginning.
Thank you, Cypher. I want to talk about those two characters briefly before we go to the next scene. I completely understand where you're coming from, Saber. I don't. I like. It's just the story how Nolan took with these characters. I like the new way that Nolan did with the character Bane. I liked his new mask. Sorry, losing my voice. I like the mask that this Bane is having. I don't like the voice. I agree with you that. I don't like the twist that we'll get into later because I like the new origin that Nolan gave Bane, what he was trying maybe setting up, but then the twist. I don't want to explore it. We'll get into it, but the twist about is is this other comic book thing? If you're a Batman fan, is like oh okay. It just deflates this version of Bane completely. So that's my problem because I actually like Bane here up to the third act where that was really where the character falls apart and that he's not as good as the Joker. And then Catwoman, I I could no one's gonna beat Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I like she's the best performance ever, the best supervillain performance ever. Um, I like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman because she feels more comic book accurate Catwoman. Like she's a comic book. But the thing I don't like about this version is that she doesn't have the Catwoman motifs. Like she doesn't have a whip. She doesn't have she is a camper. They don't lead into the Catwoman like like gimmick like Michelle Pfeiffer's version or even Zoe Kravitz Catwoman. Like she has a whip there, and she has the back combined. Plus the chemistry between the Batman is crucial. Michelle Pfeiffer has great chemistry with Michael Keaton. Zoe Kravitz has great chemistry with Robert Pattinson, in my opinion. But Anne Hathaway has zero chemistry with Christian Bale's Batman, and like their whole like tad romance is really awful, so bad because you can clearly tell that their age is so like Bale's older and and Hathaway is like younger, so that's my issue. And of course, Christopher Nolan doesn't know how to write women sometimes, and like this is such a stereotypical like way to write like this feminist like female fatale, but not in a good way like in classic films or in other films we watch. So that's my issue with this version of Catwoman. She is the weakest of the bunch we have so far. um yeah, that's what I have to say with the two villains. Plus we got a third villain, but we'll get into that. That's another issue. I Nolan, he's a great director. He did a great job with the villains like Joker, Ra's al Ghul, but his secondary villains are so bad. I mean, like I just don't understand as a Batman fan. Anyway, um, so after that we get introduced to John Blake, played by Joshua Gordon-Levitt from Inception. And he's talking to Commissioner Gordon about the senator's disappearance, and he asks Gordon what happened to the Batman, 8 years and all that, and he say like, oh, that's what happened. We kind of get that, and then I think after that scene, I said it, we get Alfred getting breakfast as usual, like the Dark Knight, and he sees his bed kind of like not being slept, and so like he goes to the Batcave. By the way, very disappointing with the Batcave. I mean, you can I come on, like give me a actual good Batcave, and this is lame. Like cubes literally rises from the water. I'm like, come on, you're really being under the nose here with us, Nolan. Um, so he sees Bruce Wayne searching on Sidney Kyle here. Um, he sees he's a cat burglar. She was stealing his fingerprints for something. By the way, just a note here. In the news clipping here went in the back computer. This was funny. I never do this, but it's funny later, years later, I found this out. The heist is spelled wrong. If you didn't see that, the heist was spelled wrong. Like was it Heist, where it's supposed to be how do you H um like it was I think it was called HAIST in the movie where it's supposed to say HEIST. Like they literally spell wrong the heist. I mean, a lot of movies have goofy and incorrect themes, but this was really like so. Anyway, um, Bruce Wayne's talking to Afrin, and like Afrin's telling him, "You haven't moved on, Bruce Wayne. Come on, dude. Like you're not Batman anymore. You look at you. You're like, you're walking a cane. You got this beard, like me, actually, a pretty cool beard, or Cyber's beard, um, and then Afrin's telling this story. Like, I wish you didn't came back to Gotham when you disappeared, in between Batman Begins, and I always visited this like fancy restaurant in Paris or something like that. And he's like, he wished that it's setting up where we see Alfred later on in the film and at the end of the film, and he wished that he had a family and kids outside of Gotham City. So that's what happened here, and then after that, we get the next scene here where City Kyle, stealing the prince for Wayne. He goes has a She goes to one of the henchmen that's working for Daggett, but he double crosses her, and but at the same time, we remember we have the senator how you say being disappearing, and she has her there, and the double crosser has the phone of the center, so she alerts the police. So after that, we get this really chase scene here of Bane's man going onto the sewers. Commissioner Gordon goes there, but he gets like caught in the kind of like fire gain and the gas leak, whatever and of course during the film, like Joshua Gordon-Levitt's character John Blake knows the sewers, and like because in early scene one of the kids got killed because he was working on the sewers, and he's an orphan and all that, and so we see that, and so he knows what's going on with the sewers here in this moment of the scene. So Commissioner Gordon gets captured by Bane's men. Uh, we got Bane here, telling one of his men to search Commissioner Gordon. He takes the notes that the speech that was going to tell the truth about what happened to Dan is now in the hands of Bane. But Commissioner Gordon escapes. Of course, during this scene, Bane killed this one the one guy being incontinent of kill like allowing three men to be dead, going to the sewers, and he kills this one guy to follow the body of Commissioner Gordon. So Blake finds Commissioner Gordon, and so he's safe. And then after this scene, um, Officer Blake goes over to talk to Bruce Wayne, and of course here we find out he's an orphan, and he seduced Bruce's secret identity, and he is the Batman. By the way, this I don't I cannot believe this kid knows this is Batman. Like you need hard evidence to know Batman. It's not because he has the eyes. I can tell you you're Batman. The eyes, as Blake was saying, in this scene. I was like, really? Like I think there should be more evidence, like the Batmobile, or like in Dark Knight, like Reese, one of those Wayne employees, find out that Batman is using one of the Wayne tech, right? That they built that makes sense. That's Batman, right? Here is like because Blake sees like to the eyes of Bruce Wayne that he's Batman apparently. So that's how Blake deduced that he's a vigilante. So after this conversation, um, Bruce finds out a little bit about Bane, and then he asks about also what's going on with the funding because when the first time Blake goes to the orphanage to tell the brother, we get the information that the Bruce Wayne Foundation is not spending money on the resources on the orphanage because of something we don't know yet. It's later in the film. So Bruce hears this, so he asks Afrin to set up an appointment with the doctor. So he goes to the same hospital as Jim Gordon is at. So here we get a great cameo of this great comedian from Reno 9 was it Real 911? Great show. He's a funny actor. I really like him. He popped up in Memento, I think, the first time he worked with Christopher Nolan. That was really cool callback from one of his films. He plays the doctor there as well in Memento, and so this doctor tells him he doesn't recommend Bruce Wayne to go to skating. That was very funny. And then here, Bruce Wayne does a very James Bond thing here, pulling the cane here, has the like strap here. He can kind of like climb down to the windows to visit Jim Gordon. He wears the black mask that he did in Batman Begins. He talks to Commissioner Gordon that he needs to come back because the evil is gonna rise again. So we got that. So I think after that, we have Bane attacking uh, the Gotham Stocks Exchange. Very slow build. But anyway, one note about the this stock exchange attack. The one of the stockman, or what you call it, or Wall Street man, whatever, is actually Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell is actually the one that Bane kills to get his ID. So Glenn Powell was in this film briefly. Really cool cameo. Because Twisters came out this year, and he brought up that he was in one of Nolan's films. I was like, what Nolan film? And he's in Dark Knight Rises here as one of the, cocky stockmen. It's like, there's no money here. And it's like, we're stock exchange. And the Bane breaks his neck, and it's very brutal. So we don't know what Bane's doing to do the stock exchange. So he uses Bruce Wayne's fingerprints to verify a series of transactions. So we don't know yet what's going to happen with that. Uh, well, in the film, it will eventually Bruce Wayne ousted from the company and bankrupt. So after that, uh, we I say Bay and his men does like a trick on the police where they have hostages and they leave out, and then here we get Batman resurface and pursuing Bane's henchmen. There we get the reintroduction of the Batpod, but also we get the new vehicle here in this film. Of course, the Bat. It's basically the Bat plane, but differently. It's a mix of like a Bat plane mixed Bat gyro, if you know your Batman comic books lore, and it's a great chase. This is a good action scene. It's really fun, and we ended with the scene where he rescues Catwoman um, from Bane's henchmen, and they fly off, and he goes back to the Batcave. Let me stop there. So let me start with Cyber. Let me start with you, Cyber. So tell me about um, the introduction of John Blake up to the big Batman chase by the police when he was chasing Bane in the stock exchange.
Okay. So starting, you said John Blake, and then ending where? I'm sorry.
The Batman chasing Bane's henchmen, and then him getting chased by the police afterward.
So this portion of the film is kind of where like the meat of the action is. So this is when the film kind of gets more interesting for me. We get more of Catwoman during this section. We get more of kind of what Bane's like ideas and goals are at this point. We get a lot of like back and forth between what other people are doing. Batman kind of being in between all these people, and we get a lot of some decent action in this section. I feel we get some really good car chases. We get some good fighting sequences that include a lot of firing our great machine gun works and stuff like that. Like I always love in Nolan's films how technical he gets with all the guns and so forth, and I like that he tries to bring in stuff that is very kind of like military grade and stuff like that, and always brings it and makes it seem so realistic, and I think they do a good job with that in this film. And and so you just get kind of to a point, because of how long this film is, you get to a point where you're kind of like, okay, have we gotten to the halfway point yet? Have we gotten to to a point in the film where there's kind of like a little break that helps kind of divide the film, And that was one thing about this film is it just seemed to drag a little bit during this sequence as well. Even though there's some great action, stuff like that going on, and a lot of introduction and information on characters and kind of what their roles are in the whole situation in Gotham. You still get so much information. You almost get bombarded by so much that you're kind of like, whew, I gotta take a break. It's one of those types of situations, I feel. And that's the one thing I felt, that the pacing in this film wasn't as good as the previous two films. Because I felt definitely in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, both the pacing in both those films are really good, and they even each other out. You don't get bored with either of those films. You find several situations in those films that kicks you right back into the action, kicks you right back into liking the story. And The Dark Knight Rises, I just feel they were trying to push too much stuff in it to conclude this chapter of Christian Bale's Batman. And so this section here really pushes it in, I feel. It gives you so much that you have to work with. And, like I said, the inclusion of Catwoman in this film, they totally could have done without her. Completely done without her. She did not add anything to the story. Kind of the same thing I felt about the Batman. I don't think Catwoman did anything for that film as well. Like, Catwoman should have been an afterthought down the road in like a sequel or so. To bring her in kind of like as like a side character that has an actual purpose. Because how they have her throughout this section of the film, she just kind of becomes a nuisance. She's just kind of in the way and doesn't really provide anything except for kind of distracting Batman here. And I feel that it doesn't really help Bane at all either. It kind of takes away from Bane in this situation. So I think that, with the fact that Bane wasn't comic book likeness in this film, and then having Catwoman come in and like be a complete nuisance did not help this section out at all, and made the pacing crappy in this film. So, like I said, I still think there's lots of great parts in this section, and we have some good action. We have some good aerial views. We get some really great cinematography and stuff like that. And, the sets in these films are amazing, amazing. And so, I mean, the detail that they put into those makes the film worth watching as well. So I don't want to say it's all bad in Dark Knight Rises, but at the same time, there are so many little critiques in this section of the film that just, I feel, overcompensate for the good portions of this film. Hence why making this one of the I think the not the best of the trilogy. So leading up to your ending point, sir, with once again, Catwoman. It just it once again, we should have just took her completely out. And I think leading up to that section there with her, it just was so pointless. But I think that Alandis' character was a really great character, and I wish they had expounded more on him and given us more of him. And I feel that they could have made him kind of a really great full-on villain, you know, in a other feature if they really could have. I mean, with any film, you can always bring somebody back. So it's it's one of those situations that I think that that actor did a phenomenal job, and he was one of the best parts, I feel, of this section of the film, and I really enjoyed him because I thought he did better than Tom Hardy as Bane did. Now, Bane and Tom Hardy's version, I think Tom Hardy would have did a great job if he had to do, like, CGI capture, or if they had done, even, putting his voice to his regular voice to, his character, because how they alternately digitalized his voice for Venom was fantastic and sounded really great. So, I mean, they could have done something better like that instead of him going, "I will get you, Bart." Like, it was kinda like, what the fuck was that? Like, it made no sense to have him talk like that. Like, almost like he's, having a hard time breathing, which I think that's the reason why he wears the mask, is he does have a hard time breathing or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a CPAP machine. I have no idea. But anyways, I think that, overall, this section is definitely, there's some really good parts. It's a little better than the beginning, and I think it does push the story forward and gets us to the next portion of the film.
No, thank you, Cyber. Uh, yeah, Catwoman's role here, it's like very cliche. She's like here to move our A to B plot here. To get Batman to meet Bane, and later in the film. And yeah, and I can understand where you're coming from for Zoe Kravitz Batman, but I like it there because first off, I like that Batman and Catwoman meets early on in his career. I appreciate that Matt Reeves did it because that was the same thing in Batman Year One, as another movie that we review, Batman Year One, and I kind of appreciate setting up the rogues early on, and she was used there better, especially because of the Carmine Falcone thing here, where this version, of course, despite the Nolan trilogy used the Batman on Halloween for Two Face origin there, they didn't use it as fully as Matt Reeves did, and especially with the Penguin show, which I appreciate. Yeah, I agree. We didn't really need Catwoman here. I feel like they couldn't actually use the character later on. We're going to talk about the twist as to fill in the Catwoman role. Like I don't like you don't really need Catwoman here in Dark Knight Rises, and I kind of agree with you. And Bane, I if you're not gonna do Bane, like I kind of wish they use Scarecrow again, because I feel like Murphy is such a great actor, and if you play the Arkham games, Scarecrow can be a great villain, and I think to wrap up the trilogy properly, you can actually bring back Scarecrow who is alive. And like I always that was the thing. I was so sad and disappointed that this trilogy never used properly Scarecrow, because Scarecrow is one of my personal favorite Batman villains. And the Arkham games did such a great job with that character. And this series, I this is the first time that the character got live action, but he's just there. He's just a pawn of the game for the villain for Batman Begins, and then he just had cameos here, which I like. I like the cameo in Dark Knight, but I think you could have used more Scarecrow as the main villain. Because Bane, the way to fix that voice, it could be like actually had another actor, like a really great voice actor, like James Earl Jones or some other actor to make that voice be more menacing. One thing I don't like that no one got rid of was the Venom. Like, where's the Venom? Like, he needs the Venom. That's the thing that makes Bane great, and Nightfall and all that. So it was weird that we never addressed, like, he's in pain. It's like, does he need drugs to keep him alive? With the pain, it's never confirmed in this film, and that's so weird. Jeff, um, up to you. Up to meeting John Blake. Up to Batman chasing Bane's henchmen, and then afterwards, Batman getting chased by the
Yeah,
police. Go ahead.
yeah. There's some good action scenes. There was some good action scenes in that in there. I could have done without the Robin character. I really didn't care for him really. Like they could have left him out for me, and it wouldn't have mattered to me if he would have been there or not. Like the whole thing with him IDing Batman as Bruce Wayne and all that makes no sense to me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I agree with Cyber on some of the pacing issues, but I'm okay with the casting of like the cast and all that. Like I can tolerate Anne Hathaway for what she is as like a 2-bit Catwoman, which is all she is. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, no, I agree with you. John Blake. Oh, he's another character. Like like I like John Blake. I like the actor that plays him. I don't like the reveal that he's Robin in towards the end of the film. I mean, I don't know. We'll get into it. I'll ask you guys what's your opinion on John Blake. I I don't know. Yeah, that one is just that's the first. Like, if you're gonna do Robin, just do Robin. Like, don't like chicken out. You know. Anyway, so after the chase, Batman comes back to the Batcave. Afrin is like very frustrated on Bruce Wayne about this return of Batman. He's telling him you're reckless. You could easily allow the police to do their investigation on Bane, but he doesn't because he likes the thrill and like he's back as Batman. Um, so Afrin, talks to him. He will, send the key thing from the like laptop or whatever, about what Bane was trying to do, which we discovered that's like the fraud thing of the stock for Bruce Wayne. Um, but while that Afrin tells him that he's going to resign in hope of saving him after this events, which is a great scene actually. I mean, there's great scenes. I think the scene here with Afrin and Bruce is really touching because like Afrin loves Bruce Wayne as his own son, and Afrin is telling him that you're not a lot of Batman. It's like why you want to waste more of your body and strength, eventually die, like this, as Batman. And he say he doesn't have a life anymore because of Rachel. Rachel's dying. That's another thing that's like very silly. It's like this. I get he's in, like, he liked Rachel, but like, can you become a recluse for 8 years because your dead girlfriend dies? Like, come on, like you have to move on, right? So Afrin is telling the truth, and we get this very like soap opera moment when Afrin saying like, "Dear Mister Bruce, what if Rachel did move on and like she was going to supposed to marry Harvey Dent, and this is where we get the letter that was from the Dark Knight. Of course, as old fashioned Bruce Wayne is, he's like, how dare you use Rachel? It gets me. I'm like, Bruce, he's telling you the truth. Rachel was gonna marry Harvey Dent, and Bruce is so in denial. It's like, you're gonna stop me for becoming Batman and all this, and like they're having this argument. It's like, and it's like so like, oh my god, Bruce. And one of these I will say for you guys to think about this. Another issue I have with this film, The Dark Knight Rises, is the like short exchange of characters, like not using properly our main like supporting characters we have with the first two films, like Afrin. Because after this scene I'm talking right now, Afrin completely disappeared the whole film before we see him again in the funeral, towards the end of the film, and you need Afrin to be in the film, and I was very annoyed that after this we don't see Afrin at all throughout the film. So I don't like the short exchange of certain characters that I like from the previous films, and that they don't get enough time to like do things like Afrin in this scene. So Afrin says goodbye to Bruce, so we don't see him again, and you know, uh, after that, uh, uh, yeah, Lucius Frost comes in, tells him what happened with the stock exchange. So he tells him that Daggett, played by Benison, really great. Oh, uh, before we get into this scene, Daggett is, I don't know if this was intentionally, if you've seen the cartoon Batman and the series, Daggett is a reference to this character in the cartoon show, Ronald Daggett, because he's the main corporate guy that created Clayface in the first season of Batman animated series. If anyone knows that, that's the character that Medicine is playing. Uh, and I do agree with Saber that he should have been this. It could have been a cool character to be as the main villain for this film, but we don't have Clayface. I mean he's here, so uh, Bruce tells Fox to like get Moran Tate so he get behind the board, and so he kind of shows her the fusion reactor that he did that could help Gotham. But the reason that Bruce stopped using it is because it could have been dangerous. It was acting up, and it could be like a nuclear bomb. That's why he never continue using it, and so that's why Moran Tate is in this film, because she invested the fusion reactor that Bruce created with Wayne Enterprises. So after the meeting in the was it the reactor chamber, Bruce and her and Fox go to a meeting. There, Daggett, you know, kind of like does this thing where, yeah, despite his name is on the front door of this building, right? He wasted a lot of the stock money and causing the company to go down under. And this is where Bruce resigns, and like Mary Tate takes over the um, Wayne Enterprises. Then after that, we see Bane. Daggett comes back, talk to his like lackey, uh, and then Bane expand his operations here, and he kills Daggett, so he takes over everything here, and then that's where we get the famous here like Gotham's reckoning, and like he kills Dak here in this moment. And then while this Blake picks up Bruce, they talk about the symbol of Batman. And then after this, Bruce talks to Selena Kyle and tells her that his friend, aka Batman, can help her get the clean slate, whatever the clean slate is, her birth and criminal records, all that, yeah, that's that stuff there. Um, and she will agree to help Batman find Bane. That's what happened. And then after that, Bruce goes back to Wayne Manor, and that's where Moran Tate, the new CEO, is there, and they become lovers. Shockingly, very quick. They had a night of love as well. And then after that, uh, we see Batman once again, and taking, uh, talking to Catwoman, and they go to Bane, but instead, uh, first we get this cool action scene, but instead of leading to Bane, Catwoman leads him to a trap under Wayne Tower, and Bane, I see it, is here got to fulfill Roshuku's destiny, his mission. Here we get this really cool action scene, one of the best in the film. This is the part I really like. This is where Bane really works here. Like he's menacing, the way he's fighting Batman is really cool. Um, and despite how silly the voice is, which is silly, but there's some dialogue here that's kind of cool. Like he say, when you say "I you betray us, Bruce," and like he's choking him, is it's really cool. But anyway, but it's still the voice is silly. After that, uh, we get the reveal here with the construction. The layer of Bane is underneath Wayne Tower of the military supply scientists, where all the multiple Batmobiles at. So yeah, because we got the quick scene of Lucifer Fox showing the Bat, he consolidate all the prototype weapons under one roof, and Bane was making this construction and to steal them. So we see that Bruce, is somewhat weakened, is trying to beat Bane, and then we get here the highlight for me as the Batman fan. We see Bane breaking Batman's back, just like in the comic books and Nightfall. I know this version is not great, but I appreciate that the filmmakers use somewhat a little bit of Nightfall here, and so we got our first, live action breaking Batman's back is really cool. It's very haunting, so really spectacular scene. And then, of course, later on, Bane takes Bruce into the prison in the Middle East, which we'll get into later. So let me stop there. Let me start with you, Jeff. Your opinion on Bruce losing his money, up to the Bane versus Batman versus Batman versus Bane fight when he's gonna break his back. Go ahead.
Well, it was obvious that he was going to get his ass beat by Bane. Like there was no question that was going to happen, and they really fucked him up. Like I mean, they really like broke him like completely. Like they took all his shit, like everything. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty. They made it really dramatic against him. Like it was like a complete like takeout. But yeah, good for him. He got to bang that chick that one night. That was cool. Good for him. But besides that, yeah, long movie, long, and it doesn't need to be that long. It's kind of a stretch.
I know, like this is hard. Like I can't believe I'm monitoring this movie. There's so much going on. I agree with Saber. There's so many plots here. It's like, come on, let's just focus on one thing, and it doesn't help. Like, just like Batman versus Superman. Like they're also adapting multiple like famous comic book stories from Batman. Like I brought up Nightfall, of course. The story that Batman breaks his back, right? Bane breaks Batman's back. We also get the No Man's Land storyline. Of course, everyone knows that's where Gotham gets hit by earthquake, and then all hell breaks loose, and like all the criminals take over Gotham City. When they get cut off by the government, and then we got the Dark Knight Returns. Now they're not adapting Dark Knight Returns directly. They're just using it for inspiration. Like we got retired Bruce Wayne here, returning for 8 years. It's like there's so many stories here that they're adapting here, and it's like, oh my god, there's so many. It's just, and then you got so many characters here. As I say before, it's like you got Catwoman, Bane, and then you got Ben Mendelsohn. It's like so many characters. It's just too much. Cyber, their thoughts on Bruce Wayne losing money up to Bane versus Batman and breaking the back. Ugh, I'm afraid.
So basically, really, the best part of this section is that fight between Bane and Batman. Everything up to that point, I just thought was kind of like okay, like it wasn't anything to write home about. I felt, and that Batman Bane fight was done really well. I thought the fight choreography was really great. I thought that it was very well executed by both Hardy and by Bale. And I think that they both just were, really going at it really well. I liked how they like kind of had it where one was kind of winning, and then the other one was kind of winning, and it kind of kept going back and forth a little bit until the whole back break thing. And it just was kind of an interesting way, I feel, of like, kind of having that final fight, between the two, because we kind of been building up through the movie up to this point to have that fight between those two. So I think that they did a good job of building that up to this kind of climactic battle between the two. And that's kind of like where the film kind of reamped itself for me. It really brought me back in is with this final battle between them two. And I just really enjoyed that portion of this section. It just was really done well. Everything else, from Wayne losing money leading up to that kind of like Batman finally getting to where Bane is, to be able to get to that opportunity to battle him, after being stuck in prison and everything. I really thought the whole prison sequence, it reminded me too much of Batman Begins. Like it gave me that feeling again. And it was kind of like I felt like we are just rewatching Batman Begins at some point, and I was like, why? Like, why does it feel like that? It just makes no sense. And so I thought that that was kind of hokey a little bit, and kind of, took away from making The Dark Knight Rises something different than the previous two films. So I feel like that whole section just was like really not really important to lead up to this final battle that we got to. And, basically, like I said, that final battle is the best part of this whole, this section of this film. So, other than that, pretty much pretty blank, pretty basic, and nothing really that great. Just a shout out to Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman's characters throughout this, this film as well. Absolutely love them as Alfred and Fox. And, they both do a great job throughout this film. I love that, that camaraderie that, Alfred has for Bruce. And I love how Lucius does a great job of, trying to provide the best products for Bruce too as well, knowing that he's helping, a great superhero battle the injustice in Gotham. So I think that both of them, huge shout outs to them and how great they were in this film as well. So I just had to throw that out there. But yeah, pretty much once again, just as Jeff had just mentioned about the pacing issue. Once again, this portion had a lot of pacing issues, getting up to that final fight, which once that final fight got there, it got good again. So it's too bad that they felt they needed to put so much into this film, or unlike some other films like that Christopher Nolan's done, like Oppenheimer, didn't feel like that at all. Interstellar, which a lot of people love, that I felt that didn't have that kind of problem either. Like it was pretty well paced. So I think that this film kind of suffered from that pacing issue, and that was kind of a portion. This was another portion of the film that had those bad pacing issues. So other than that, great climactic portion of this of this section of the film was fantastic. The rest of it, pretty just basic.
Nope, I agree. Yeah, I agree with Jeff, and you brought up the pacing. Yeah, this is probably the worst pacing film I seen with Nolan. This and Tenet had probably the worst pacing I have to say with Nolan's films, because Interstellar, great pacing. Oppenheimer, really great pacing. I mean, and Inception, great pacing. And yeah, this film just like it just slogs along, because we're like it's so many exposition, tried to set up like this plot here and then this plot here, and what works really with all great like these films with Nolan is like there's a focus and like a major theme he wants to talk about. With this film, I feel like he's trying his best to make this film, but like he doesn't have the heart and care that he had with the first two films. And there's obviously reasons, because it's like it's hard to come back to a film after one of your actors pass away, emotionally. Like, you have to be emotionally invested in your project you're making, and like I don't think that Nolan was really emotionally attached to making this third Batman film like he did with Batman Begins and Dark Knight. And I don't mind connecting to Batman Begins. I i i just think the way they did it here is kind of like, okay, I don't need like scenes from the movie to like I get what you're trying to do here, like I don't need scenes, with Liam Neeson. It's like I know how Liam Neeson looks like, just get a young actor that looks like him or something like that. Um, but yeah, I like the idea of Bane. Like it's in from the comics. Like he has worked with League of Shadows, but what doesn't work really with the idea of him working with the League of Shadows is because of the twist, which we'll get into. But it's like, again, I don't think you need the League of Shadows. So get into that, the Middle East, here, Bruce, here we got the famous scene with Bane where he's talking to Bruce in the pit here, where this is where he comes from, Bane, and where he was kind of like born into the shadows. And he tells Bruce, the reason that I'm putting you down here is going to torture you because of your soul, is that he's going to give hope to Gotham and take away from it, because of this impending doom of the bomb. And then this is where we get the famous line of like Gotham, when Gotham becomes ashes, you have my permission to die. And so he steps in, Bane, Batman, Bruce Wayne in his chest, where he still have the paralyzing of his bag, and it's pretty brutal. But then after that, back in Gotham, you know, Celia gets arrested by John Blake. And of course, Commissioner Gordon promotes John Blake to be a detective, so like he's doing some investigation here, and where this is where he kind of investigate, the Daggett construction stuff, and while at the same time we get the famous football scene here, and where Bane has the detonation here. So here he traps all like the police forces in the sewers, and this is where we get killed by Mayor. This is where we the mayor gets killed during the football play, and then after that he forces Bane forces Pavel to convert the fusion reactor core into the neutron bomb, and then he and then publicly killed Dr. Pavel in the stadium. And of course, he let go of Lucius Fox and Moraine Tate and one of the board members, uh, away after the detonation here. And then, so John Blake runs quickly to rescue Commissioner Gordon. He does save him, and then pretty much the government is telling the people of Gotham they're not forgotten, but they're not going to go to shake the terrorists. Big. Then after that, this is my favorite scene. I think my favorite scene here in the film is Bane. So Bane goes to Blackgate Penitentiary Prison. This is from the comic books. Very cool that Nolan brought this in the comic books. Uh, though Bane exposes Dank's crimes, he actually reads the speech that Gordon had early on, but he didn't do it. So he exposes Dent and Gordon's resignation, and here we get like a montage of like the city being like taken over by Bane's revolution. And this is where like the voice, like like the voice, this is where the voice really is over the top. Like he's like, ah, here you can do it, like you can do everything here. You're free, do whatever you like. That's what Bane does here. And we see everyone here. We see like what do you call it? A kangaroo court still there. Um, and that's what happened. At the same time, Bruce. Ready? Hoochie Mama. Hoochie Mama. There. I'm fine. Hoochie Mama. Anyway, uh, so and everyone doesn't understand the reference. You guys you're missing out in your life. Anyway, Uchi Mama. So what was that? God damn it. Yes. So Bruce is trying to. This is where the movie breaks my heart here. This is losing my mind here. Like like oh my god, like Bruce is crippled by Bane, and then somehow he can come back, so like he starts slowly to walk again, so like the back was not permanent, and it's like how many like years and like months do you have to recover it's just so crazy. So like we get this old guy here who, by the way, the old guy that's talking to him is actually the actor that plays Einstein in Oppenheimer. Great actor. I actually like him in this film. When I saw Oppenheimer, I was like, who plays the Einstein? And this guy from Dark Knight Rises, great actor. He talks to Bruce. He's telling about like the kid coming from the pit. By the way, if you're a Rachel Gu fan like me, it's very lame that the pit is basically a new version of the Lazarus Pit. That's something that Rachel Gu, if you don't know the comic books, the Lazarus Pit is something that makes Rachel Gu immortal. And the Nolan films, they're doing realistic, grounded, whatever, blah blah blah. So we don't get the Lazarus Pit. Here's this like new like here's the pit, and it's like okay, like come on, we don't need that. So you get the other guy who's the doctor. He's not like talking English. He's talking some, I guess, Arabic language. I don't know. So you see Bruce Wayne trying to like climb to pit to get out. He does it twice, but he cannot do it because of the rope. And then obviously this doctor telling him don't do it without the rope. I was like, Okay, that's even more dangerous to do." So we get this climax scene, you know of Bruce trying to climb to the pit, and like everyone's seeing the rise song, and like and then all of a sudden the bats come out from like this one spot here, and then bam, he he comes, he comes to the ledge. He makes it, goes up to the pit, and then he's out of the pit, and that's it. And he's back to Gotham afterwards. So he's going to be back to Gotham, and because during this time we're in like a 5 month timeline. So we see some of the characters, obviously Army are trying to figure out something here. They find out about the Nutribon from Lucia Fox and Miranda Tate. This is where we see the Bane capturing Lucius Fox and the people in that tower, and like he hands the 3 men of Army in the bridge, and Bruce breaks the TV as he did during the recovery phase. So let me stop there. Jeff, what you thought about the whole Bruce Wayne pit thing, and then seeing our characters during this like basically no man's land of trying to stop the bomb, and like going through that, and what you thought about Bruce getting out from the pit? That's those scenes. You mute. You mute. You mute.
I like seeing the cops come back and fight back when they got freed up and everything. I like that. Besides that, the actual fight itself between Batman and Bane when they fight again is pretty solid. Uh, but in the build up to it, I mean it's just the movie just kind of goes, it's an interesting part of the film, the whole pit sequence. It probably goes a little bit longer than it needs to go. Um, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. It's good. It's fun to watch the first time you see it. When you watch it more than once, it kind of loses its luster a little bit. But I like um, I like Catwoman's role there in the end too. I like that part of the film.
Yep. No, I understand. Yeah, this is where Catwoman is more useful here. Saber, what's your thoughts on Batman in the pit, and then him coming out from the pit and all that?
I mean, basically, this section is once again it gets the action pumping, gets the action rolling, and brings back the fight for this film. And so I think that this section definitely has some really great moments, especially in the fighting sequences of this portion of the film. And basically this shows like how amazing Batman is from coming back from having his back fucked up, and really gives you kind of a fighting kind of theme going, rooting for Batman, woo, 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 type of deal. And, it basically kind of just leads you, into kind of uh, that kind of climatic battle, just kind of like the previous one. It was really well choreographed. It was really well done. It was cool watching him come out of that, pit, and it gives you kind of that kind of darkness feeling again of Batman. Like Batman is returning, Batman is coming back. He's ready to fight again after kind of being somewhat defeated because he got his back injured and stuff like that. So I think that this section is pretty interesting. It gets you back into the film, gives you a lot of great action, and it is very enjoyable. This is probably my favorite part of the film.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, this part is really great. I think the music by Hans Zimmer is really spectacular, and yeah, punch you up with the action and like the thrills of the film. So we're in the third act. So let's not put bushes here. We're in the third act. Batman's back. He meets up with Catwoman. Um, and during this time, as we say before, Bruce, gets Lucius out of the captivity, but he lets he cannot rescue Tate yet. But the meantime, before that, we see the kangaroo courts here, and obviously Gordon gets captured during this time, and Jonathan Kane, aka Scarecrow, is alive. He's here. He's actually the judge. Really cool. I was so happy to see Murphy again when this happened. So it was great. Love he was a judge, and I love how you say death and exile. It's just like so cool, and just the way he as Gordon say like look, you had to kill us. We're going out. On our term, and he's like death then, and then he's like death in exile. That was really cool. Um, but Gordon goes. His men are going to like this. The very dangerous like what do you call it? Ice. But then Batman saves Gordon. He shoots these needles of sedative drug to knock out the mercenary. Bruce also helps Blake out, and he frees the police, and together they clash with Bane's army at the like the central hall, and there we get this kind of like big battle here of the police versus the Revolution Army by Bane, and I never seen this kind of like not in the level of the Lord of the Rings, where we see like a big battle. But like, man, this is like 100 extras, like real, like fighting each other is really spectacular. We get the second fight with Bane and Batman. Like the music here is just pumping. It's like, yeah, come on, Batman, beat Batman. Bam, and of course, Batman wins the second fight. He has a subdues Bane by like doing something smart here. Actually, being the mask up, like being the mask up. He gets one of the tubes out, and Bane is like he's having trouble breathing. He's like, like he's losing his breath, man. And then because everyone knows Bane, Bane. Is, sorry, and this is
Fuck
how
you, Steve from Bumble. Fuck you.
no. No. Uchimama, please. Uchimama. Eric. Uh all serious there. Bane is gonna kill Batman here. And the most crazy thing, he just single punch Batman in the wall and he breaks like this concrete, which was crazy. Like I never saw that before, Dark Knight Rises. Um of course, Batman beats him. He knocks him out. I got this is the funniest scenes ever. We didn't talk about the Batman voice. Is really bad here. Christian Bale's Batman voice here, and when he says, "Where's the trigger?" and he punches Bane's mask like multiple times, and he's like, "Where's the trigger?" And he's like, Bobby voice is like out there is crazy. And Gordon and his men are trying to track the bomb in the truck, and so after Batman overpowers Bane, Kate stabs Batman in the what do you call it, Amity, Abaddon, and then he reveals herself to be Rachel Ghoul's daughter, Talia Ghul. So this is the twist I don't like. So I thought initially Bane was the son of Rachel Ghoul. That's such a cool idea, and then all of a sudden this twist happened where it's like this is Rachel Ghoul's daughter, Tyler Ghoul. I appreciate that they went the comic book route, but it's so stupid. This twist doesn't make sense. It's so silly. It's James Bond twist that I don't really like. It ruins Bane, and like Bane it's just a thug. He's a henchman, so he didn't do this whole plan by himself. So it's basically Tyler did it. And like during this talk, she reveals that Bane was her protector in the pit. Um, so yeah, so this case was really awful, and this is where the movie kind of comes down for me, really badly. But yeah, then before you know, her, Tyler, like Miss Gagul, gonna detonate the bomb, but it fails because of Gordon blocking the signal. So Talia leaves to find the bomb while entrusting Bane to finish up Batman. Let me stop there before we get into the actual finale. Saber, what you thought about Bruce coming back to Gotham up to the twists of Talia al Ghul?
Were you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to
Okay.
you.
Well, I'm sorry. Repeat what you said. I didn't hear it. Sorry.
Yeah, so no. Return of Batman and Gotham up to the twist of Talia being Tate being Talia Ghul. Talia Ghul. The daughter of Rachel Ghul. That's what I'm talking about. Up to the real of Rachel Ghul's daughter. That's it.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, this sequence is basically kind of just more information. That I don't think it really does much for the film. I mean, the whole twist with the Raja Ghul daughter and stuff like that, I didn't think it was really. I thought it was kind of pointless. I thought that if it actually planned out in something and they actually used that at some point, that would have made sense. But because they didn't use it at all, and I just thought that that was completely pointless to put into this film, because after these Nolan films were done, Nolan didn't do anything else with the Batman. So, they've gone in a whole new direction now. They got the Batman now with Pattinson, and, we've seen Ben Affleck as Batman and so forth like that. So, it was kind of like dumb to pull that character in and have it as a twist when, you don't do anything with it. It's understandable to bring certain characters in to use them later on, but only like a couple years later, not like 10 years almost, now. I mean, this came out in 2012, so it's been 12 years. So, It's at this point, it's just kind of mute point. So I thought that was kind of stupid. Later on at the time, probably in 2012, I thought, that's kind of interesting. Hopefully they do something with that. But now I look back and I go, that was just the stupidest fucking thing they could have done. I mean, they haven't done anything with it. It just seems so pointless for the film. Just like I said earlier about the whole Catwoman thing, and how she has been pointless throughout this whole entire film, and how they really should have centralized more on Bane. Bane should have had majority of the time. They should have not had Selena Kyle at all in this film, along with bringing in this whole Ra's al Ghul daughter thing. And I think that too, also with this section of the film, this is kind of, I believe this is the section, where we kind of get a little more information on kind of who's really behind everything and how things are really going, and kind of like who's really the puppet master behind all of this and stuff like that. So I think that portion was kind of interesting. But overall, I think this section, it was just kind of a weak point throughout the movie. Like I felt the beginning part was, and I think that they could have completely kind of like went from the Batman fighting Bane sequence to getting to the point where we're going to get to after this. And I think they could have cut out that whole section, and it just would have made, I think, more sense. Kind of like what, Jeff mentioned earlier about the whole Robin character. That was another character that just was so pointless because they did nothing with it afterwards. So, this film unfortunately has so many little things like that where it just did not do any justice because it didn't make further information or further characters that they could develop and use later on. Unlike how, if you've seen in the MCU, how they've taken certain characters, had bit parts in small and bigger movies, and then they ended up sprouting out and becoming characters in other films and becoming bigger, kind of like with, I think, Anthony Mackie's Falcon. That character started off with a small part in Winter Soldier, and then ends up now he's new Captain America. So that panned out, having that kind of that extra character and the Winter Soldier. And the same thing for like a lot of these characters like Ghost, Taskmaster, what's his name, Johnny Walker, and these characters, all of them are now getting their own feature-length film, and their little cameos or their little parts that we got in certain things are panning out. So if those characters, like such as the Anne Hathaway Catwoman, the Ra's al Ghul daughter, the Robin character, and so forth, if they had all actually gone off and did something else and were part of that franchise, that would have made more sense. But I feel like this section of the film really iterates that point across, that there's so many useless cameo characters in this film that they could have not put in to make the film better. And that's kind of where this point of the film gets me at. And like I said, I thought this section, really, they could have just cut it out and moved on from the previous portion.
Yeah, no, I agree, Saber. I mean, yeah, it's funny you brought up the Marvel Cinematic Years, because this was the same year as the Avengers, the first film, and I, there was always discussions when Man of Steel was in development, like there were talks to bring in the Dark Knight Rises Blake to be Batman, like for that version, before they made the decision to just use Bruce Wayne again, but recast, do another recasting of Bruce Wayne with Ben Affleck. And I don't know, like I could have mind to continue with the Dark Knight Rises, Blake as the new Batman, and like with Henry Cavill, but I don't know. I kind of glad, because I don't like the way the the DC EU was such a train wreck. I don't want that shared universe to tarnish the Dark Knight trilogy, and that's the thing. It's kind of tough. If you're not going to use these comic book characters, just make up these characters, like the Penguin show. Like, everyone thought that certain characters was going to be major like comic book characters, and they were not. Like, you don't need these comic book characters to be in these projects, to like expand the universe, if you're not going to, continue with the story in multiple projects, and so don't do it, and that's why it's so weird to have these multiple characters that are going to be combo characters. Just don't do it, and of course, with Nolan here, this was a different time. Everything, the franchise wasn't, this thing that the MCU made it so popular. So, I'm fine with, standalone, self-contained stories, but yeah, I don't like the way that Nolan used several of these comic book characters, and it just felt rushed and like underused. Jeff, it's up. You're next. Tell me your opinion on Batman returning to Gotham up to the twist.
I I
Uh,
don't I
uh,
don't have I don't have any opinion on the twist or any of that. I barely have anything to say about the finale, so I would rather just wait and talk about that. Like I said, I like the fight between Batman and Bane. I already said that. It's a
okay.
good fight. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I like the character arc of the Catwoman character. Like I liked her character arc. I like that aspect of the film. Commissioner Gordon getting into the action and all that, like that was cool, I like that. Like getting out of the hospital and actually getting out on his feet and like getting in the action, that was all right. But I didn't care. I again, I felt like it was not necessary to have the Robin character. And I'll leave it there.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right. So after that, Tyler escapes to one of the tumblers, and this is where we get the another. I actually like this chase scene of Batman, Catwoman chasing Talia to stop the bomb. Great action scene. The bat is really great here. Great action scenes here, and so we see them chasing so that they can reconnect the bomb into the nuclear reactor or the fusion reactor, you want to call that. So, well, before that, Catwoman does save Batman by killing Bane. So Bane you know. By the way, this is a lame death for Bane to get out. So he gets shot very quickly by Catwoman. So that was really bad. So Batman pursuing Talia, hoping to return the bomb to the reactor chamber, can be stabilized, but Talia's truck crashes, but she automatically remotely floods the chamber to destroy it. Before she die. By the way, this scene, the worst death scene ever. The way the actress that played Talia. By the way, she's a Academy Award actress. She's great. She was great in Inception as the wife for Leo DiCaprio. But her death scene was so laughable here. Uh, when she was talking to Batman, Catwoman, and Commissioner Gordon here, and their faces is so funny. It's like, oh my god. So with no way to stop the detonation, Batman, is gonna carry the bomb to with the bat. He kisses Catwoman. Their relationship is official. Blossom. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. They have no chemistry. He reveals his identity to Gordon, which I really like. That was cool. I like how he put two together. When he say like he put a coat around a kid, for hope, and that's what happened. So I like that. And so using the aerial craft of the bat, he held the bomb far over the bay and where it safely explodes, and presumably Batman died. So here we see the aftermath of Batman here, the aftermath where the city is safe, Batman is presumed dead and honored as a hero. Wayne Manor becomes an orphanage for the orphan kids, and so the Bruce estate is left to Alfred. So Alfred gets a little bit of kaching, money left. So that's pretty cool. And then after that, Gordon finds the bat symbol appear, while Lucius discovers that Bruce had fixed the bats um, malfunctioning autopilot. So that means he actually kind of survived. And so then after that, we go into Florence, the Italy section of capital city here, where Afron is, going back to that restaurant he talked about earlier in the film. We discovered that Bruce's life is in relation with Selena. That's kind of cool. They silently acknowledge each other before parting ways. And then after this is where we get Blake revealing his like illegal name is Robin. Um, okay, whatever. He resigns from the GCP, and he receives a package leading to the Batcave. So he becomes the new Batman. Uh, yeah. So that's it. That's Dark Knight Rises. That's the end of the film. before I get to you guys, I just want just briefly talk about the Robin thing. I don't care about it. Like if I say before, if you're gonna do Robin in a movie series, do it. I like Robin. He's a great character. I think you could do Robin in a realistic universe. And I just think the way they did it here was so lame. And I mean, just calling him Robin that doesn't make like it's really awful. So just like Cyber said before, like if you're not gonna just set up anything for the future or like continue the story, then why make this character Robin and like him becoming Batman? It's like there's no point to it. And I get this is the final chapter. Like nothing has come after this way, but it's just kind of weird that they did it this way. But that's it. So let me get to Cyber. Uh, no, Jeff. Jeff, let me start with you first, real quick. Your thoughts on the finale, the end of the film. Blake becoming
It's
Batman, all that.
I don't know. I mean, it's all right. Like I said, the first time you see it, it's better than that it kind of changes after that. It's a solid ending. They do a good job sending Christian Bale off, the proper way. And the story wraps up well. It's a good ending. And they just the whole Robin thing never gets paid off. So it's just kind of silly. And that's pretty much it. I'll rate it I'll give it an 8 out of 10, probably.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's good. It's good rating. It's not as bad as some other third films. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Cyber. Tell me about your thoughts on the finale. Oh, uh, question, Jeff. Do you mind that Bruce was alive? Do you wish that he died? Really? You know?
No, I'm glad that it worked out the way it did.
Okay. All right. Just want to ask. Cyber. You're next, buddy. Tell me about your final thoughts on this film and your rating.
Well, first, I just got to say
They're
this.
going to kill me. I told them to send me a video holding an object and start nodding.
Anything is a dildo when you really put your mind to it. There's no such thing as too large or too sharp. Every time you stop to question yourself, I want you to tell yourself, I can, and I will.
All right, so that just to cleanse the palate there for you folks. So anyways, the end of the film is a pretty basic ending to conclude this chapter of this Batman version. And, we get some really great final action at the end. We kind of have people go their separate ways, and we have the faking of Batman's death, which, is kind of a good idea to really kind of, cleanse Bruce of kind of all the crap that he just had to endure over the last several years, starting with the actual Dark Knight. And so, the fact that we have it pretending that Bruce Wayne dies and he really hasn't was a great way of ending the film. I like that. I agree with Jeff that was, I'm glad it worked out the way that he actually wasn't dead. And because I was thinking to myself, if they actually killed him, I think that is really fucking stupid. And, especially because what if down the road you want to bring this Bale back, this Batman back, an older version of him or something like that, keep him alive so that is a possibility, Warner Brothers. So I was, happy that they ended up having where he actually, ended up being alive, or maybe even he decides to start playing, doing the Batman type of thing in another country or something, being a different version of Batman. You never know. Maybe he becomes the Dark Knight or something, or becomes the Nightwing or something. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's so many possibilities they could have gone with this. And I enjoyed how they ended it and having him be alive and everything. And, that great thing. It was kind of like how in the last film they killed off, Rachel. Like, whoa, that came out of left field. The same kind of thing they did in this, having kind of how this kind of climactic ends, kind of having Bruce Wayne's death kind of deal. And I think that was an interesting idea, because I believe, if I remember correctly, in some of the comics, they've done that. They've had it where Batman fakes his death so that he can go in hiding and then reemerge later on. So I think that was a clever part by Nolan, in doing that. But overall, I think the ending gets the point across. It does a decent job. It works out, and I think that it definitely was probably one of the better portions of the film, simply for the fact that it concludes it. It gives you kind of an ending point, and it finally comes to kind of like a stop. Because, like I was saying before about the pacing issue, it kind of was like that, like Speed Train or one of those really fast trains from Japan that it just, the bullet trains, and it goes 10 seconds and 3 miles, basically like that. That's kind of how the film kind of is going without the proper breaks and proper, things going on. So I feel that, it finally coming to that stop finally gives you kind of a relief that, oh, this is good to know. And I'm glad we finally kind of wrapped up these storylines. So overall, a decent ending. Rating wise, I'd say I give it a 7 out of 10 for me. Like I said, this one was my least favorite of the series.
Yeah, I agreed. The what you brought up something, Saber, about the fake death. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises is the well-known one. Like the ended we did the ammunition movies. If anyone knows, spoil the ending of Dark Knight Rises. Batman is alive. It's just he faked, his death there, to trick Superman and all that. And then, if you haven't seen the book and this movie, yeah. So that made a lot of sense actually. Now think about it, because I don't mind the way they ended here. I actually like the ending here. But yeah, my rating will be yeah, this is tough because I grew up watching these movies. I love the Dark Knight trilogy, but I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is not the worst Earth films of any trilogy. Like it's not as bad as Spider-Man 3 or like X-Men 3 The Last Stand. This is a decent movie, but it's not as great as the two films that we got, Batman Begins and Dark Knight. And I understand that. Like it's gonna be a tough order for Nolan to like top the Dark Knight. Not having the Joker in this film was a really like letdown. Of course, Ledger passed away, so he had to work what he got, and I think what he got here was decent, but it was just too many plots. I think he could easily cut them, as you guys brought up. The pacing was really off in several sections of the film, so it made the film a little, draggy in places. So yeah, that's my thoughts, and I just want to just say thank you guys for joining us for the Dark Knight Rises review and breakdown. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I went crazy, but look, I was trying to get a 1 hour full breakdown here, and there was a lot to discuss here. Okay, I did my best. I tried to calm myself as some people was trying to interrupt my flow, like someone here controlling the button here, and it's like just get out of here. Anyway, so Jeff, go ahead, plug us. We're getting out of here. That's my show today. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, Andres.
Oh god. Yep. Dark Knight Rises, everyone. Oh, I'm first. Okay. Well, more talk from me. Anyway, I hope you guys are not sick of my talk. I hope my beautiful Latino voice is very special to you guys. But no, no. So I Serenity now. Serenity now. Uchimama. Uchimama. Alright. I recently posted my top 20 favorite Flash episodes of all time, part one. Part two will come next week. Posted the Thunderbolts trailer there. Check it out. Tonight I'm going to post another scene from a movie. You will see later. It relates to this review. Then I did the live stream of my recap on the Penguin. So I wrapped up the Penguin review on my Andreas Pop Culture recap, and I did Superman and Lois episode 6 and 7. So next week I'm gonna talk about episode 8 only. So check it out next week for Wednesday. And to our next second live stream with Jeff and Cyber here is Half Baked. That's going to be in the 24th of November. So just please check out that. That's going to be, I guess, next Sunday, or yeah, the next 2 weeks. So yeah, so I just want to thank you everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this moderation from me. I was so happy I can do one of these Nolan films. It was the least favorite ones I had to do, but it was fun. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Cyber.
Okay, Cyber.
All right, folks, if you enjoyed me here on the panel or as a moderator of the MCU's Bling Edge, check out my solo content. You can find me under Cybernetic Shark on pretty much any platform. My home base, of course, is YouTube. I can see my most recent trailer reaction, of course, is Moana 2. I'm really surprised at how many views I got on that bad boy so far, which is great. Keep on watching it, people. I just went and saw 3 movies this past weekend. I went and saw Red 1 here and also Heretic. So you'll be seeing reviews of those up soon. So keep your eyes out for them. As you can see, their most recent review was Smile 2. If you have not checked out the review, check it out. Really great film. Transformers 1 actually just dropped on Paramount Plus. If you have Paramount Plus, go check that film out. Really great film. I'll be having more stuff up for you guys soon. Trailer reactions, movie reviews, like I said, all that kind of good stuff. Keep on trucking, keep on subscribing, getting us there. As you can see, I got my Here mini review up there for you guys to watch. So definitely check that out. And, keep on stuff. Eventually I will get a live review done. I just haven't really had the time too much to do. But we'll eventually get to one. We'll get to do that and all that good stuff. Keep you posted on that. Mr. Pop Culture Guy and Mr. Jeff will be a part of it eventually. So keep an eye out for those guys. And just keep on trucking, people. Keep on subscribing to us. Keep us keeping going. Make sure to keep checking us out here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. And if you are not familiar, we are now going to be on Mondays and Fridays for the time being, the rest of 2024, just to let everyone know. So our Wednesday show will not be airing anytime soon. So keep your eyes out for Monday and Friday shows. And we have a lot of great stuff coming up for you guys. Lots of great new TV series and so forth. So keep on watching. And thank you for supporting us on this MCU's Bleeding Edge.
That's right. Doom Prophecy on Monday.
Yeah.
Episode 1 of Doom Prophecy on Monday. So that'll be our first. It'll be our first a new TV series for us right there. God bless everybody out there. For everybody here at the MCU's Bleeding Edge, on 11/15/2024, we are out of here. Peace.